Every once in a while, a plane does something that sounds insane. It dumps fuel into the air. Not leaks it, not burns it. It intentionally releases thousands of pounds of fuel mid-flight. And when people hear about it, they assume only one thing. Something has gone terribly wrong. But here's the truth. Fuel dumping is not a failure, it's a safety feature. And if it happens, the plane is actually becoming safer, not more dangerous. Let's break down why. First, you need to understand something important. Planes are designed with two very different weights, one for taking off and one for landing. The maximum takeoff weight is huge. It includes fuel for the entire trip, backup fuel, extra reserves, and contingency fuel. The maximum landing weight is much lower. Why? Because landing puts enormous stress on the aircraft. The landing gear, the wings, the fuselage. Slamming a fully fueled plane onto the runway can cause structural damage, even if it looks smooth from the cabin. Now imagine this scenario. A plane takes off for a long flight, maybe 8 or 10 hours. Minutes later, something happens. A medical emergency, a warning light, a pressurization issue, a bird strike. Nothing catastrophic, but serious enough that the pilots decide to return. Here's the problem. The plane is still heavy, very heavy, too heavy to land safely. So what do? They wait and burn fuel, right? Sometimes, but not always, because waiting can take hours. And emergencies don't wait. That's when fuel dumping exists. Fuel dumping allows the plane to rapidly reduce weight, safely, controlled, precisely. Fuel is released from nozzles near the wingtips, not randomly, not near the engines, and definitely not near the cabin. Why the wingtips? Because fuel to disperse is faster and farther away from the aircraft. It atomizes into a fine mist. Most of it evaporates before it even reaches the ground, especially at altitude. This is the part that surprises people. Fuel dumping almost never happens over cities. Pilots are trained to do it. At high altitude, over designated areas, away from populated zones, air traffic control coordinates it carefully. It's not chaos, it's procedure. Now here's something even more surprising. Not all planes can dump fuel. Smaller aircraft often can't. Instead, they're built strong enough to land overweight if needed. Large long-haul jets, on the other hand, must have fuel dump systems, because the difference between takeoff and landing weight is massive. We're talking tens of thousands of pounds. But what if dumping fuel isn't possible? Then pilots have two options. They hold and burn fuel, or they perform an overweight landing. Yes, that happens too. And no, it doesn't mean the plane is crashing. It just means the aircraft will need inspection afterward, because safety always comes before convenience. Here's where psychology kicks in. Passengers rarely know fuel dumping is happening. They might see fuel streaking past the windows or hear an announcement, and suddenly fear spikes. But in reality, dumping fuel usually means the pilots are being extra cautious. Not desperate, not panicked, professional. Now let's address the environmental concern. Is fuel dumping bad for the environment? Short answer, yes. But context matters. It's extremely rare. It accounts for a tiny fraction of aviation emissions, and it's tightly regulated. Airlines don't want to dump fuel. Fuel is expensive. They avoid it unless necessary. There's another misconception here. Fuel dumping does not mean the plane is about to land immediately. Sometimes pilots dump fuel before continuing to another airport. Why? Because they want flexibility. A lighter plane handles better, stops shorter, has more margin. It gives them options. And aviation loves options. Here's the most important part. Fuel dumping is planned into the aircraft from day one. The system is tested, certified, redundant. It's not a last-ditch hack. It's part of the design philosophy. Expect problems, prepare for them, remove panic from the equation. So when you hear about a plane dumping fuel, it's not a sign of danger. It's a sign the system is working, a controlled response, a calculated decision, a safety buffer in action. The next time aviation news sounds dramatic, remember this. Most scary airplane behaviors exist for one reason: to make sure you walk off the plane, even when things don't go as planned. You're not watching a failure. You're watching insurance at 35,000 feet.